Steve Jobs said that the thing that separates success from failure most of the time is mere perseverance on the part of the person attempting to do something. And while that is something that we all need to know, I mean, it's the way we will succeed in life. It's just to keep on pushing and pushing, and then we'll get to where we want to be. But it's not just a truth that applies to adults, but it is a truth that applies to everyone, including young children who are beginning to walk down their yellow brick road of life. I was down in Indianapolis to babysit for Jack and Owen a couple of weeks ago, and when Owen was, who was 3, was taking his nap, Jack, who is 5, and I went to the swimming pool. And he brought a couple toys that he could play with inside or in the pool. And one of them was a torpedo. And the torpedo was about probably a foot long and about that big around. And when you would pick it up, it would feel like it was a piece of lead covered with rubber. And you'd throw it in the water, and it was a torpedo. It would act exactly like what you think of a torpedo would function as. And so we were standing in the water at the shallow end of the pool, and the water was up to about here on Jack. And the game was that I was supposed to throw the torpedo in, and he was to retrieve it from the bottom of the pool. You know, remember that the pool is, 3 or 4 feet, 3 feet deep, and it was not difficult for him to do that. But the problem was that he'd have to dive down those 3 or 4 feet to get the torpedo. And Jack is only 5 years old, and he's not an experienced swimmer. And one of his problems was trying to dive that short distance down, which he continued to try and became successful at diving down a couple feet to the bottom of the pool, and then pull the torpedo up, and he'd give it back to me, and we'd play the game again. After he was able to do that at the very shallow end, he said, throw it further, which meant I'd throw it a foot further than I'd thrown it before. And he would go down to the bottom of the pool and come up, and he would still be up. The water would only be up to here when he would stand up. But when he would try to dive, take a deep breath and try to dive, and it took him a while to get to the bottom, what he would forget was that he wasn't in shallow water, but he was holding his breath and trying to do something, and came up and and he was outside of his comfort zone. And once he realized that he was beyond, that he could still stand and still not be in trouble with water over his head, he'd say, "Oh, Papa, throw it further." We'd do this for an hour. And what's intriguing to me is, and man, I'll tell you, well, I didn't talk about Steve Jobs to him. I said basically what Steve Jobs was saying. One of the things I most admire about you, Jack, is that once you see something, even though it is outside your comfort zone, something that you've already done 500 times before, you will try and try and try until you reach that goal. That's a critical lesson for Jack to learn, to push the limit. is a critical lesson for us to learn also, because our success, along with Jack and Owens and everybody else in the world, success in this world as we walk down the yellow brick road of our lives, is to try to push beyond our comfort zone. Steve Jobs and all the great leaders in our world always teach us to push, to drive, to move, to be motivated, to succeed. And you will not succeed sitting doing nothing. You will succeed when you try. You won't learn something overnight, but if you try, you will learn it. I hope you enjoy this article. And it's a true story. It's something I'll never forget. But most importantly, it is something that you need to apply to your life. Whether the children are young, middle-aged, or old, we all need to learn the lesson about the thing that separates success from failure is an attempt on our part to try, even when it is outside of our comfort zone. In the meantime, you take care. Thanks for listening and watching this video and reading this essay.